The cashier's hand froze as she held the crisp $20 bill against the light. A long line of impatient shoppers stood behind a tall black man with tired eyes, his little daughter clinging to his coat sleeve. The man, dressed in simple jeans and a hoodie, shifted uncomfortably as the cashier's suspicious gaze lingered. Then she pressed a hidden button beneath the counter. Within minutes, 2 police officers marched in. Their radios crackled, their eyes sharp. "Sir, we've received a report of counterfeit currency. Please step aside." The man's jaw tightened. He raised his hands calmly, aware of every eye in the store now fixed on him. His daughter's grip tightened. "Daddy, what's happening?" She whispered. "Everything's fine, baby," he said softly. But the unease in his voice betrayed the storm brewing beneath his calm exterior. The officers pulled the bill from the cashier's hand, whispering between themselves as though the paper was dangerous contraband. "This looks fake," one muttered, pulling out handcuffs. The man did not resist. Instead, he crouched low, looked his daughter in the eyes, and said, "Be brave for me." As the cuffs clicked shut, gasps filled the store. A mother shook her head, whispering to her teenage son about how careful one had to be. A businessman in line frowned, muttering about crime. No one offered a word of support. As the officers guided him toward the exit, one shopper finally spoke up. An elderly white woman with silver hair. "He wasn't causing trouble," she said firmly. "You could at least check properly before humiliating him in front of his child." Her words hung in the air, cutting through the murmurs of judgment. Still, the officers pushed on, their grip firm. They placed the man in the squad car. His daughter, now crying, was comforted by the elderly woman who promised to stay until someone from his family arrived. At the precinct, the so-called counterfeit bill was scanned, examined, and tested. After several tense minutes, the machine beeped green, genuine, real, valid. The officers exchanged uncertain glances. "It must have been a mistake," one muttered. The man, still cuffed, looked at them with steady eyes. "Mistake?" His voice was low but carried weight. "Do you know how many times men like me don't walk away from mistakes like this?" Silence fell. One officer cleared his throat. "Sir, may I ask your name?" The man leaned forward, his voice controlled but sharp. "My name is David Carter. I am the Director of Homeland Security." The words dropped like a thunderclap. The room froze. The officers stared at each other, faces pale, their authority suddenly fragile. This was not the petty criminal they thought they had cornered. This was one of the highest-ranking officials in the nation, the very man sworn to protect them all. David stood as the cuffs were quickly removed, his presence towering. He adjusted his jacket, then looked at the officers, not with rage but with a deep weariness. You saw a black man in a hoodie with a child and assumed the worst. You didn't see a father. You didn't see a man who works nights to keep this country safe. You didn't see humanity. You only saw suspicion. The younger officer's eyes fell to the floor. The older one swallowed hard. At that moment, the elderly woman from the store appeared at the station, holding David's daughter by the hand. The child ran into her father's arms, sobbing with relief. David lifted her up, kissing her forehead, and for a moment the weight of the world melted away in that embrace. Everyone in the room watched silently. The little girl looked at the officers through teary eyes and said with innocent honesty, "My daddy's a hero. He helps people. Why did you hurt him?" The officers could not answer. Shame painted their faces in a way no lecture ever could. David took his daughter's hand, turned to the elderly woman and whispered, "Thank you." She nodded, eyes glistening. Then, before leaving, he looked once more at the officers and the room filled with quiet onlookers. His final words were calm, steady, and unforgettable. Every person you meet deserves dignity first. Remember that. And with that, he walked out into the night, his daughter safe in his arms.